So do you want to just sort of introduce yourselves and say what you do?
Okay. My name's Jennifer Clixby and I'm a producer on Fable the Journey.
And I'm Ben Brookes and I was the lead scripter on Fable the Journey.
So tell us about each of your roles.
Okay, so at a high level I look after the scheduling for one of the departments on the game, so I'm just making sure tasks get done on time and that we can ship the game on time. Day to day that involves running around and solving everyone's problems. So if someone needs like an animation or a piece of art and it'll hold them up if they don't get it, then I have to sort of manage those dependencies and make sure that people get them in time.
And she stops people like me sneaking things into the game at the last minute when we really should stop fiddling. So the script team are the guys who bring the world to life. We do all the gameplay events, we build the quests and that sort of thing. So I run that team, so I do a lot of the quest design, and then I'm also really involved in a lot of the narrative design. So I do some of the writing, like assisting our lead writer, and help bring the gameplay and the story together in one and make sure they're not fighting and complement each other instead.
So tell us a little bit about the new game.
So it's the next game in the Fable franchise. It's slightly different from previous ones, and it's a Connect exclusive. But while making it, we wanted it to be a true Fable experience, which meant it was a single-player game that was a long play one, action adventure, more than 10 hours. It wasn't mini games, and so that meant we had to use Connect in a slightly different way than maybe other titles had. We've made it a seated game, so you play the entire game using Connect, but you can play it from your sofa. You don't have to stand up at all, and that's quite a big feature as Connect goes, and I think it's something that's necessary if you're going to do a full-fledged long action adventure game like we've made.
So this game's set after the previous game, so what's happened since we last been in the world of Fable?
So since Fable 3 we've had about 50 years pass by, and it's kind of been long enough that people have started to forget. People don't really believe in heroes and magic anymore, and the old hero king or queen from Fable 3 is, there's rumours coming out that they've gone missing but no one really knows, and Albie's kind of dozing along complacent, and there are a few people who still sort of dream of heroes and read about them, and Gabriel, our main character, is one of those guys.
Yeah, so he's a bit of a dreamer. He doesn't take life very seriously, and he's part of a dweller tribe, and he's always at the back and he's the butt of their jokes. So that's where we sort of come into the story.
Yeah, the rest of them all drive the cart, dig things up, serious dweller business, and Gabriel's just sort of reading books at the back. He gets separated off from the tribe early on.
By falling asleep.
Yes.
So this is why he gets made fun of.
And he's just catching up to them. There's a big storm and it destroys the bridge they're crossing, which is the main route across Albion that they're all following towards Bowerstone. And he has to take the old route back across some of the back country of Albion to catch up with them. And while he's doing that, he comes across Teresa. And so Teresa is the link between all the Fable games. She's been in all of them, and it's her story that we've sort of been slowly telling. She's wounded and vulnerable for the first time in a Fable game. You don't really know why when you first come across her, but it soon becomes obvious as kind of Gabriel gets swept along in this sort of grand magical adventure that's just been bubbling under the surface for quite a long time. And it hopefully ties up a few things that Fable fans might have been wondering about Teresa and about the Spire. They're sort of very key bits of this story.
She's always been a mysterious character in the Fable games. Like whenever the fate of the world is at stake, she's around and she's always influencing things. And so everyone, on our forums, fans are always intrigued as to what her agenda is. And this time they're going to get to find out from her.
So this game obviously has got horse riding involved in it as well. How did you sort of implement that into the game?
So that was one of the first things that we prototyped actually. It's quite funny when you look back at really old builds of the game, it's always interesting because the horse was going to be a big central character, and it's a sort of good way of getting around Albion as well. And
it fits well with the history of the games.
Yeah.
Just the fantasy feel of things. We've actually always wanted to get a horse in a Fable game. You'll see stables and things like Fable 3, but where are the horses? So finally we got one in.
And so you go right back and like there's just these sort of black and white worlds with this thing just sort of moving around, but it's the prototype controls, and so we've been iterating on those a lot. We test them out ourselves, and we think, oh well then we send them off to user research. We have a lot of people like fresh faces come and play and give us feedback, and we've sort of gradually worked out the best feel for the controls. They've got to be intuitive, but they've also got to be robust, so people can do them. You can just pick up the game and have a play, and it feels natural and right.
So obviously you've had to develop, as you say, a new element for Kinect, being able to play it sitting down. How difficult was that?
Well, we were quite lucky in that as a studio we've got quite a lot of experience with Kinect because of Milo and Kate.
Really, there's a lot of time spent working out how you could play a game seated. So we managed to make Fable the Journey in the time we did because we had already done all of this research into seated play. So that worked out pretty well for us.
We had a lot of programmers with a lot of experience working with Kinect. And we also had a good group of designers with a lot of experience with the design challenges in Kinect as well. And then we had all the guys from the Fable projects, and we made a really good team. It was a really good blend of kind of all the things we needed to make this game.
What's the feedback been like from the fans? Obviously this is a Kinect game.
Well, initially the feedback of Fable fans is, why is it a Kinect game? They're sceptical about it. But what we found is, as soon as people have played it, they've just, once you've played it, you figure out what the game is. It's not Fable mini games. It is still a Fable long storyline, 10 hours plus of gameplay. But we're using Kinect as an interface, and so for the first time, the player feels like they're in the world more than ever, because they're driving the horse, their motions are they can see the reaction on screen. When they throw a spell, they see it hit the enemy. It really feels like you're in the game. And so as soon as they see that, plus it's the Fable storyline, it's the characters, the world that they love, I think then they're much happier. I mean, we've had people come up today and say that they're really impressed with how it all fits together.
Yeah, I think hopefully when people cast magic, or when they first pull an arrow around the horse using their own hands, and they go, oh, that's why it's a Kinect game.
I have to say it was very accurate. I thought, it's going to be like other Kinect games. I'm going to throw the spell to the left and it's going to end up on the right hand side of the screen. But it was pretty accurate. I have to say, even in these sorts of conditions we're in today, it's very impressive.
Well, for a core game, that was essential. So much effort went into. When you're firing a spell, it's got to feel like it's it's going where you're aiming. If you're slightly off, it misses. You can't. We could make it so that you just wouldn't miss, and then if you'd feel cool, but then you'd realise we were cheating. So it's just being accurate was just key to the magic feeling good.
It's got to be a skill-based game as well for cool games to sit and play it. Otherwise.
So talking of which, when is it out?
So it's out on October the 12th in Europe and October the 9th in the USA.
Yep, and we have a demo that will be available on live on September the 18th.
Great. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.